Y'all need to quit sleeping on Madison Beard. People can be hot and talented. Just look at me. I'm not gonna lie, y'all, the whole smoking gag is getting real tired and real corny because I'm speed running my way to becoming that auntie at every family reunion that's like, come over here, give auntie a kiss. I'm speed running my way to becoming an auntie. Right. I've been trying to lay off the kombucha because it upsets my stomach, so I've been drinking this poppy. I could just drink water. I could, but really this should have another O in it, and it should be called poopy. If you know, you know. I know it's been forever since I FaceTime y'all last, but I was doing what Rihanna did in like 2014. I found love in a hopeless place. I found love in Ohio. I'm sorry, and I regret to inform you all that the DMs are officially closed. The DMs are officially closed. The unlovable, unfuckable monster that is Zach has found someone that will love and fuck on him. The only actual relationship that I had was a couple years ago, and I say relationship because it lasted 4 weeks, also known as a month, because, you know, gay person. So I wasn't having boyfriend in high school. What the hell did I just say? In middle school, I did sort of have a girlfriend. We dated for like a week. All I did was get her chocolates and flowers for Valentine's Day because I'm a romantic. But we never even kissed. I never kissed her lips, let alone those ones down there. Also, I am sick, okay? And yes, I keep toilet paper in my car. But anyways, I am just kind of nervous about having an official lover, and I would tell you guys about the date, but I just want to keep that private for now. I don't have to tell y'all everything. Maybe if you're lucky, I will tell y'all one day, but that's not going to be today. That's not what today is about. I called you for a different reason. This man that I met in Ohio did officially ask me to be his lover. He asked me, woo! But it did sort of remind me of the time when the guy who I dated for a month, he asked me to be his boyfriend, and then 3 days later, we broke up. So I'm a little on edge. But that guy was also he was a little cuckoo. Now, let's just call this little cuckoo lover Adam, okay? That's not his name. Every time I say, oh, Shawn Mendes, oh, Noah Beck. Those aren't their names. I didn't actually hook up with Noah Beck. Oh, my God. Let's just call this guy's name Adam. Now, Adam and I, shocking news, shocking twist. We met off Tinder. We didn't meet off Grindr. I'm free. Also, I haven't even had Grindr, Tinder, Hinge, anything since I started talking to this Ohio guy. But that's besides the point. It's not about him. It's not about him. I'm keeping him safe somewhere. This is about Adam. Adam, that's not actually his name. So I saw this man on Tinder, and oh, would you look at that? He had a beard. Okay, there. I said it. My number one. If you can grow a beard, I'm going to be attracted to you. I'm going to think you're hot. I don't know. That's just the way my brain's wired. If you have a beard, beard equals hot. And this man, he had a beard. He was also like a blue-collar worker, country boy. And I was like, what? They make those around here that are gay? Yes, I swiped right on him. Boom, a match. And guys, this never happens to me. Whenever I do that, it just says, okay, the next person pops up. It says, you're ugly. You're unfuckable. Now, I could re-download Tinder and look at our first DMs, but I can't actually do that because I was banned. Now, I'm not sure why I was banned. Maybe they think I'm a catfish. Maybe they're like, this boy is way too fine. He's way too fine to be real. That's what I'm going to tell myself. But Adam and I were talking on Tinder quite a bit. Now, he lived like 40 minutes away from me, which is huge. If you know me, you know I live in the middle of nowhere. Hello? Hello? There's no one around me. Well, there are people around, but there's no one that's willing to munch my cookie. There's absolutely not one person in sight. Oh, what about you? No. Now, just to give you a little context of where I was in my life. My top song on Spotify Rewind for this year is Head in the Wall by Ethel Cain. Safe to say, I wasn't doing very well. And this was the same year my brother got arrested. That's a whole other thing. So I wasn't really looking for a relationship. As you guys know, I had diddled and dabbled with DL men, DL straight men, for basically like all throughout high school and everything. So safe to say, I did not know what to do when a man loved me back, because these DL men are not loving me back. They're loving it on my back. So when this man and I had good banter, as you know, I'm a sucker for good banter. And this man and I, we cracked jokes, and he was really sweet. He was really sweet complimenting me. And of course, I don't know how to take compliments. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Don't ever fuck. After only about 2 weeks, this man asked me to go on a date. Now, I had never been on a date with a man before, or a woman. So once again, this was bump, 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 beat it up bongos. This was huge for me. Obviously, I was super nervous because I'd never been on a date before. I didn't even know what that means. I'd never been on a date with a woman. Like, when am I supposed to give it up? When do I let him munch? Like, how far into the date? Spoiler warning, it was the first day. I'd asked him what exactly he had planned on this date because all my friends were like, if this man takes you somewhere, he could murder you. And I was like, what are you talking about? No one's gonna murder me. In hindsight, he very well could have murdered me because he asked if I wanted to go to the mountains with him. And he said we would stay in Banff, which is a town around here. I'm sorry, my nose is plugged. I'm sick. Cut me a fucking break. When I'm talking, it sounds like I'm honking. When I hear myself talk, it sounds like I'm honking. I'm talking, I'm bonking, I'm wonking. That's what I get for traveling 3,000 miles to fall in love. Now I'm sick because I went to the airport and everyone's so nasty. And I forgot to wash my hands. But anyway, since we both live in the middle of the country, there's nothing to do around here. So he said, do you want to go to the mountains? And of course I was like, hell yeah. Because as y'all know, I'm a sucker for the mountains. If you ask me to go to the mountains with you, I'm going to go and we're going to make love. But at this time, I was, hello, my name's Mr. Broke. I didn't have any data on my phone. So all my friends were like, boy, he's going to take you out to the, my hair's falling out. He's going to take you out to the mountains and you're going to get murdered. And I said, the only thing I'm trying to get murdered by is that D. Okay? So my soulmate, my twin flame, my girl Sydney, she lent me her phone for the weekend, which is crazy. Like, I love that girl down. I love that girl down. She lent me her phone for the weekend. I was over at her house and I was like, okay, he's on his way. He's on his way. And keep in mind, do you remember what I said about this man having a beard? This man had a beard. And I'm not saying that was the only reason I was attracted to him. It's not. But was it the number one reason? Yes. To my lover in Ohio watching this, just know you are so much more than your beard, okay? I had never seen this man without a beard. All of his photos on Tinder were him with a beard. And I don't know if y'all know about beards and that they can totally change the way your face looks. When I shaved my mustache, I shaved my mustache last year and I didn't leave the house for 2 weeks. I'm not even joking. My best friend was my manager and I said, girl, I can't come in. I can't come in. It was like I lost my best friend. One day, I'm going to shave my mustache. No, I'm not. I don't know why I said that. But this man, he pulls up in front of the house, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, that's him. That's him. His windows are kind of tinted, so I can't really see. But I'm like, that's got to be him, right? So I give my friends a hug. I'm like, okay, goodbye. See you on the other side. So I say goodbye to all my friends, and I walk over to this man's car. Now he has tinted windows, as I said. So when I open the door, I can't, like, see him before I get in, and I'm just like, okay, whatever, he could kill me. He could kill me. I get into his car, and I turn over. Who's this man beside me? Who's this clean-shaven man? I don't care what you say. You may say, Zach, you're shallow. You fell in love with his beard. You didn't fall in love with the person who had the beard on him, and you're right. The person I was talking to on Tinder was his beard. He didn't have a beard, and I was talking to a man with a beard. And he looked completely different without his beard, okay? Beard, beard, beard. Take a shot every time I say beard. But this man was incredibly sweet, so I was like, you know what? It's okay he doesn't have a beard. It's okay he doesn't have a beard. Give it like 3-4 days, and he'll have a beard again. Everything will be okay. The man you were talking to on Tinder will be back. Now, earlier, I said that I gave it to this man on the first date, and I was just joking. It was just a prank because this man requested that we get sushi. And you know what? I love sushi. I love sushi. But the thing is that I live in a landlocked province. The closest body of water that you can fish in is 1,000 kilometers away. Where's this fish coming from? But I'm a freak and I love food. So I was like, hell yeah, I'll get sushi. Hell yeah. I love sushi. I love it. Mwah. And on the drive up to the first city we were staying in before we got to the mountains, because he was like, what if we just stay in a hotel? Which I was fine with because it was in a city, so he couldn't murder me there. Also, he did not have, like, murder vibes. He did not have murderer vibes, but I've heard not many murderers do. The drive to the hotel is, like, an hour and a half away. The mountains are, like, 3.5 hours away from me. So we were staying in this first city, are you following, that had the hotel. That's where we were staying, and we were going to get sushi and eat it at the hotel. Are you following? Now, on the drive up, we were just talking about what we bonded over. And what I remember is that we both like Stardew Valley. So we had that. And I'm going to be honest, this happened a couple years ago. So what? I don't remember exactly what we were talking about on the first date. All I know was my hair's falling out. Oh! Does it make me the bad guy that all I can remember from our drive up was that he likes Stardew Valley? I don't think it does. I don't think it does because I think Stardew Valley is a good trait in anyone. This fucking ladybug pissed on me. Girl, get off before I piss on you. Now, I don't remember the drive up, but I do remember getting to the hotel because in case you forgot, when I called you when we went thrifting together, I did sort of mention that a guy pissed on me in the shower. Well, this is the guy. So we got to the hotel and we were both showered already. But we were like, you know what? Supper's going to take an hour before we get our sushi. Can't wait to kiss ya. So what do you say we just break the ice a little bit? We just both jump in the shower and, you know, see what happens, right? Wrong. So we both get undressed. And you know what? Yes, it's the first date, but we're also gay people. We got freak juice flowing through our veins. So we get in the shower and we're just talking, we're laughing. It's actually, we have so much fun in the shower. Until I smell something. Huh, what's that smell? Oh, it's hot yellow piss. This man, I don't know if he heard the thing about if you pee on a dog, they like submit to you for the rest of their life. I think that might have been what he was doing to me. Also, I never pissed on a dog. I'm not about to start those allegations. I just heard that. But also, what I did hear was, and that wasn't the shower. That was piss. Hot yellow piss coming out of his piss hole. All down my leg. And I was like, well, great. I'm going to need another shower now. Thing is, when you got hot, yellow, stinky pee in a steamy hot shower, it's all you can smell. It's all you can smell. And I don't mean to make y'all sick, but I just need you to be there with me. I'm putting you all in my shoes. And I'm not going to lie. If he was really well hydrated and there's no smell, no nothing, I would have been fine with it. I would have been like, yeah, whatever. We're just having a little fun. But that wasn't the case. The piss was as yellow as the autumn leaves. I just tried to play it off and be real cool. I was like, oh, you're so silly. How about you get the fuck out of the shower so I can just finish washing off and then we can go grab supper and then come back here and kiss each other with our sushi mouths. I don't know what... Guys, this was my first date. I didn't really think it through. I didn't think about the fishy kissy smell. I didn't think about that. I didn't know that he was gonna hot yellow piss all over me. I'm just a boy. Now, I'm gonna be honest. Yes, this man did hot yellow piss on me, but he did also pay for the entire trip. He's a provider. So I was like, you know what? He got supper. He got so much supper. It was so much sushi, and he got the creamy shit. He got that sushi with that creamy shit in it. And I don't know if y'all know that I'm lactose intolerant. This man was preying on my downfall. But you know what? He hot yellow pissed on me in the shower, and I was like, you know what? Let's just enjoy supper. You know, who knows? Who knows how the night could go? But anyways, I ate supper because I was being a gentleman. And you know what? I am one of those people, I hate to eat in front of people, but I was picking out. I was big backing it in front of this man, and so was he. But he was also like, whoa, you sure can eat a lot. As you'll know, famously, I'm very, very petite. Extremely petite, tiniest little waist. So his comment kind of took me off guard a little bit, but I was like, you know what? I gotta go lay down. I'm just gonna go lay down. There was one queen-size bed in the room, and, you know, I was bloated. I was bloated because I ate creamy sushi, okay? I don't know why y'all are yelling at me. I had to lay down because I was getting a stomachache, and I am getting a stomachache just thinking about it. But I was laying down, and then this man, he sits on the edge of the bed, and I'm like, what are you doing down there? Be careful. Be careful, I just ate a lot of creamy sushi. You may have hot yellow pissed on me, but I could do much worse to you. So just for a little background, this man and I did get freaky over Snapchat. Shocking, breaking news. Gay people got freaky on Snapchat. So I didn't know what exactly I had in store. I knew what I was getting myself into. Except for when I didn't, because I don't know if this man also got a Ballesta sponsorship, because when I tell you, he pulled out his suitcase and sat it down, unfolded it, and when I tell you he had every single... he had every single adult toy that a man could possess, and he had made no mention of this. And obviously, I have no issue with toys, as you'll know. In a sense, to me, I don't know if I'm just damaged, but I think using someone else's pocket pussy on the first date is worse than them just cracking one in ya. But you know what? As they say, YOLO. So I was just laying there on the bed, my huge belly full of creamy sushi. I couldn't even see what was going on down there. So he pulls out the pocket pussy, and he says, I don't think we should really get full freaky on the first date. I said, not get full freaky, so what the hell is this? What the hell is this? I just thought I should be a little chivalrous, because this man paid for supper. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Whatever. I can't even see what you're doing because I'm so bloated. And this man grabbed him on him, and you know, you can assume what happens. Like, I'm not going to tell y'all every single detail. I know, I'm not going to lie, it was fun, but there was an element of weirdness in my mind. I don't know if it's just because he shaved his beard or that I was using someone else's toys on the first date. But there's an element of weirdness, so I was like, At a certain point, I was like, okay, pack it up. I'm done. Like, I don't really want to be doing this. What do you say we just cuddle instead? Like, I try and play nonchalant and cool. He's totally down for that. He lays down beside me and I'm like, one second. I go to the bathroom, brush my teeth. I come back. And you know what? Creamy sushi belly set aside. Hot, stanky yellow piss on my legs set aside. The makeout was really good. I think somewhere in my mind, because this was the first time a man expressed interest in me back, there was something in my mind that was like, oh, so I should just marry this man. Like, I'm in love with this man. I don't know. Some may call it emotional immaturity. I may call it, I had a lack of love, okay? No man loved me when I was a child. Besides, like, my dad and stuff, like, that was fine. But I mean, romantically, there was no love. There was just straight men hitting and quitting. So just keep that in mind, that this whole time I was blinded by euphoria. Even after he stanky yellow pissed on me, I was like, you know what? I don't care because this man loves me, so that means I must love him back. I have this thing where when I sleep, I'm an oven. Yes, I may be petite and tiny, but I'm an oven. And this man was big spooning me and he would just not let me go. And I was like, can you let me go? Because in the morning when we woke up, he had to peel me off of him. But besides that, we went off to the mountains. We were walking around Banff. It is a beautiful, picturesque city. I love it there. And we were walking around, and I had never been gay in public before. Like, I'd been myself in public, but I'd never been gay with another man in public. So when we were walking and he was holding my hands, I was like, okay, be careful. They could see us. In hindsight, I was a little delusional because this is Canada. Like, no one gives a shit. When all is said and done, we had a beautiful time. Banff is a beautiful city, and on the drive home, I don't know if y'all have ever experienced this when you're on a date with someone or you're out with someone who you know, like, will get freaky with you and you want to get freaky with them, and that's like the whole repertoire is a freakage, and you're just talking, and in the back of your mind, there's a little voice getting louder and louder saying, let me out! And it's your inner freak. That's sort of what we were both experiencing, because we were talking and there was movement. There was movement in our jeans. I'm just gonna say we had to pull over and choke our chickens, if you will. Our chickens were strangled! After that, the fog was lifted in my mind, and I could see clearly now the freak is gone. After the fog had lifted, I was just driving around with this beardless man, and I was like, you know, this was really fun, and we should totally do this again. So, he dropped me off at my house, gave me a nice little kiss, and I went to bed. The next day we were talking again, and we were both like, that was a lot of fun. Like, we should totally do that again. So we did. We went over to his parents' house one night, and he lives on a farm, and he was showing me around. His parents were there. His parents were super cool. He showed me around his farm. We rode on his quad. It was a lot of fun. A good country time. We went back to his room, made love with his parents in the room over. So this is basically 2 weeks after our first date, and this man moves an hour and a half away. Now, I live in the middle of nowhere, in case you forgot. Hello? There's no one around that wants my cookies, and I have nothing better going on. So I'm like, yeah, I can make that work. Only an hour and a half away. So this man moves to an apartment with his sister, and I just have to say his sister is a certified baddie. I miss her a lot. I think about her a lot. I basically go and visit him every single weekend because at this point I had a job, which I know some of y'all can't relate. So I was busy Monday to Friday. In case y'all don't know, I have two friends. And am I going to hang out with them every day that I can? Yes. Am I going to apologize for it? No! Just for a little refresh, in case you don't remember, there are these two men, and one of them is dating my best friend, who has a baby. The other one is dating my other best friend, who does not have a baby. And I'm friends with these two men. You know what? They're straight men. Since those two girls are dating brothers, I'm hanging out with them all the time. We're having so much fun. And at this point, I was hanging out with my friend who doesn't have the baby and her boyfriend a lot. And we would hang out like every single day. So since I'm only seeing this man on weekends, he can see all the time on weekdays that I'm with my friend and her boyfriend. And he calls me out one time and is like, why are you with him all the time? I say, with him? That's a woman. And he says, no, with him. And he's talking about my best friend's boyfriend. Need I remind you about a straight man's ass? You can smell that shit from the front. Now this man, he's handsome. You know what? I'll give it to him. He's handsome. It's a no for me, dog. I'm just going to say it's a no for me, dog. So safe to say, I'm like, what are you talking about? I get that I'm only seeing you on weekends, but you're being jealous of me with a straight man. And I know I did just say that I had spent all the years prior hooking up with straight men. This was not one of them. Even if it was, it's a no for me, dog. I think this is when my history of men not liking me back sort of crept in. Because it developed something in my mind where I'm like, if a man wants me too bad, then I'm like, get away from me. Just take a step back. Just take a step back. Like, jealousy is such a turnoff for me. Do I get jealous? Well, yes. Jealousy is fine in little doses, but this man was like, you need to stop hanging out with him because I know he wants your cookies. What the hell are you talking about? So he wanted me to stop hanging out with my best friend, basically, because she's with her boyfriend all the time. And I love both of them. They're both my friends. So I said, dog, you're going to have to work on that because I'm not going to stop hanging out with them. You just got to trust me. I'm not freaking around on you. Because who would it be with? Hello! So that was sort of my first red flag when I got to see through the fog of lust and love. And I was like, who is this man? But it crept slowly back in because when I went to visit him next, he had a full beard. And I was like, well, I'll bounce on it till my legs come off. And you know what? I would continue to do so. In an effort of my straight friends, boyfriends, trying to, like, show him that I'm not getting freaked with them, they invited him over and me over and all of my friends over for a barbecue at their place. And they barbecued. They're super sweet. And I just gotta say, these are straight countrymen. They're not homophobic by any means. But if you did just brush into these men and just saw them out in the wild, you would think they are. So I just have to say they were doing their big one. They were being great hosts and everything. And this man, he was looking back, like I see pictures of it. And we were like all sitting around the fire and he was just like locked into me. He wasn't like trying to talk to any of my other friends. And the thing about me is I love my friends. Without my friends, I wouldn't be here. Where would I be? In the loony bin. So that was red flag 2. And I do just also have to throw in there, we were drinking and him and I slept downstairs. And he had told me the next day because sometimes when I drink, I have like a little sleep apnea sort of thing going on. And I'm like I sound like either possessed or the grudge, something is going on. And he told me that he thought I was going to die and he was going to give me CPR, but he couldn't because my breath smelled so much like barbecue. Where did I put that cigarette? So in a sense, that was sort of red flag 3 because I was like, oh, my breath smells a little bit like meat and barbecue, so you're not going to save my life? Even though I was perfectly fine, like I wasn't going to die, I was just having a little moment. But I was like, what? But honestly, like, I don't blame him. Looking back, the real major red flag was that he was not trying to make any sort of effort with my friends. Now, you don't have to be friends with my friends, but they're really good people. They lead with love and light. Where's that energy from you? As I had mentioned earlier in the year, my older brother was arrested. Now, I'm not going to get into that because that's not my business. But safe to say, my familiar, like, relationships was in need of repairing. There was a need of repair. So my mom was like, you know what? We're all going to go into the mountains. We're going to rent a cabin and we are just going to rebuild and be a family. Just keep that information and put it to the side and don't forget about it. Let it whisper in your ear. Because the next day after the barbecue, this man and I were driving back to his house and he had sort of made some sort of comment, I don't really remember, about women's rights. Something about that. And I was like, what is this man talking about? Trigger warning, ignorant man. This man was talking about how men have it harder and all this. I don't know what the hell he was on about. And then I had to pull out the thing saying, and who set that system up? And who set that system up? Because you know that girl from that interview thing, she ate when she said that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to say it too. And I said, so who set that system up? And then he went on and on and on about this stuff. And I was like, this man doesn't respect women in any sort of way. That is when the cloud of love and lust disappeared. And I was like, I don't know who this man is, beard or not. This is not a man I'm trying to associate with in any sort of way. Because looking back, also, at the barbecue, the only person he was talking to was my friend with the baby's boyfriend because he's a trucker and this man was a trucker and they were just bonding over that and he was only talking to him. And I was like, what about those beautiful women? What about my beautiful, smart, intelligent, funny women friends? So when this man was yapping, running his mouth about how men have it so hard and all this stuff and women have it so easy, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, boy, open a book. I don't want to get into that, but y'all know I love my girls. I love my girls, and if you don't love my girls, get the fuck out. Get out of my car! So that was the red flag that broke the camel's back. I'm the camel. And this was kind of torturous because this was a Saturday, and I had to spend one more night at his house, and he drove me there, so I had no means to escape. And trust and believe, I did not give it to him. I did not give it to him because I said, you don't respect women. You don't get to disrespect me. After that, we sort of talked. It was kind of awkward vibes because I was like, boy, I rebuke this. I rebuke this. So basically, he drove me back to my house the next day, and all in my mind, I was like, I gotta cut this man off. I gotta cut this man off because this isn't something. Like, I tried to talk to him about it and say, boy, what are you talking about? Who hurt you? And he was like, no, men. He was just standing with men. And I said, boy, they stink! Now, you remember that thing I told y'all about my mom planning that little family getaway? Bring that forward with us. Because, you know, I know she wanted the best for me. And, you know, whatever. But she did, in fact, behind my back, invite my lover to go on the family getaway with us. And I was like, girl, why would you do that? Because at this point, my back was broke. The camel's back was broke. And I was like, I tried to talk to this man, and this is something that this is an immovable object for me. If you don't align with at least some of my core values, get the hell away from me. Get away from me. And I had not written up my proposal yet on how to tell him that and how to tell him that I can't. That I just can't, and it's not going to work because this is something that is one of your core principles that is on the complete opposite side of where mine is. And his is immovable. It's not something that's going to shake up. I talked to my mom and I was like, girl, why would you do this? Why would you do this to me? You put me in such an uncomfortable situation. Like, you know, I'm not. And she was just like, boy, how was I supposed to know? And you know what? She's right, because I didn't tell her because I wasn't trying to tell her about my gay little business. I did, in fact, have to text this man and say, boy, we need to talk. We need to talk. And it is serious. It is serious. Because I was like, I hope he didn't book off work already. And then this is going to be a whole thing. And it was a whole thing. And he did book off work already. Because I didn't find out my mom invited him until like 4 something days later. So he had already crunched the numbers. He crunched the numbers. He was already doing that. So I was like, boy, please, I need to talk to you. Like, can we FaceTime at least? I'm a firm believer in not like breaking up or whatever, calling it quits over text. Unless it's like you just hooked up once and then you're like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. That's fine. But when we've been talking for like 4 weeks at this point, so I was like, I owe this man at least a FaceTime. Also, I don't really owe him shit. So I was like, boy, I need to talk to you. Like, this is urgent. And this is where all of his true colors were revealed. This man calls me like 30 minutes later and he's at work. So I'm like, oh, fuck. And I didn't want to throw it all on him at once because I just have a thing. I like to lead with love and light, even if you're evil. Even if you carry evil in you. And I wasn't going to be like, I don't want to see you anymore and don't go on this trip. I was like, I got to pick one of the 2 evils, and it was the do not come on this trip. And I was telling him that, like, I didn't know that my mom invited him. She didn't run it past me. And I wanted it to just be a family trip because my brother just got out of jail. I could just see the evil brewing and coming forth from him. And this part is ingrained into my mind because looking back, it's insane. And he said to me, would have been fucking nice to know, you stupid fucking cunt. So you think I'm kind. So I just said, okay, you have a good rest of your day at work. So, what now? So I went on this family trip, and I'm a man who doesn't like to go on his phone. And at this point, I was like, boy, I don't want to talk to you. And I said to him, I'm on a family trip. I'm in the middle of the mountains. There's not good service. And I want to spend time with my family. And I know I'm kind of the bad guy. But he also said he doesn't have any respect for women. So who's the real bad guy, Chun-Li? I tried to text this man like once a day at least. We were on vacation for like a week and a half whenever I had service. And when I tell you, when I did get service, my phone, boop, 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 it was hello, where are you? Are you okay? Blah, blah. He was calling my mom, seeing if I was okay. And I was like, I gotta go. I kind of reached my breaking point. I was like, boy, I am on a family trip. You and I were not that anymore. We're not that anymore. I know I just said I didn't want to break up over text, but I was like, boy, please leave me alone. Why are you calling my mother? How do you even have her number? I said, boy, I will talk to you after this trip. Please just let me have fun with my family because we need it. We need some fun. Safe to say the family vacation was a shit show. But But after the vacation, I knew I had to rip off the Band-Aid and tell this man the way it was and how I was feeling at that current moment. Because I was like, I had never done this before. I had never been in a relationship. And I had sure as hell never broken up with anyone because no one ever liked me back. So I texted this man and I said, boy, we need to talk. We need to talk. Like, either call me, FaceTime me, or come visit me. Come see me, because I was like, I'm not going to go see you because you could be the person Wendy was talking about. You could be the killer. So this man said, okay, I'm going to come down and see you this weekend. And I said, that's great. That's great. So he came down to see me. We drove out to the sewer place where I sucked that guy off. And we were just talking. And I was like, boy, there's some things that you think in your mind that I just like can't agree on. And he was like, he was still defending his case. He was still defending his case. So I was like, how bad do you want me? Looking back, this part, I feel like a sociopath. I don't know. I feel evil because this man started crying and I couldn't cry. And I was like, come on, cry. Like, I felt like Laura Lee. I was like, why can't I cry? So I'm trying to approach this with love and light. Because at the end of the day, maybe this man has changed and he respects women now. But he was crying and he was like, so that's the only reason you don't want to be with me, is just because you don't respect women? I said, no, that's not the only reason. Because I was trying to approach it in a way that this man could grow from himself. And looking back, I could do a lot of growing because I like fell head over heels for someone just for them giving me attention back. And I did start to like distance myself from my friends to spend more time with him. And that's not something I'm going to do. Also, I hate confrontation. Unless it's something really serious. If it's serious, I'll do it. I'll cry, whatever. But if it isn't, I'm just like, I'll just be over there if you need me. But I said to this man, you would also just get extremely jealous when I would hang out with my girls, let alone with their boyfriends. Their asses stink, and those are women. So that was basically the extent of the conversation. I was like, boy, like, there's just these things that you're not making any effort to change that I'm not going to wait around for you to change. Because they're kind of major things. Like the jealousy thing, I could maybe get over. But the thing about you not respecting women is not something I can get over. Okay? So we did agree to go our separate ways. And when this man dropped me off in my driveway, he said, well, I'll still be around if you ever want some good dick. And I said, oh, okay. Have a nice day, sir. And I left the car. But also, he wasn't about to give me any dick, because I checked my phone and he blocked me on everything. So that is how my first relationship ended. Let me know how I did. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, I can walk away with a little pep in my step, because this man did, in fact, eat my ass.